Okay, let's go to the chitas of the day. We're holding in the middle of Parshas Noach. We're holding in chapter 9, verse number 8. Vayem Elokim el Noach. The fifth reading of the Parsha, Hamishi, today's Thursday. Vayem Elokim el Noach, and God said to Noach, V'albanav elamer, to his children, saying, V'aniach, verse number 9, V'anihi make him as brisi itchem. And behold, I'm setting up my covenant with you, with Zarachem Achechem, and to your children afterwards. So Rashi says it means I agree with you. For Noach was afraid to engage in the procreation, so to say, until the other one, blessed be he, promised him never to destroy the world again. So we're going to populate the world and then you're going to destroy it again. And so he did. He ultimately said to him, behold, I agree to make a confirmation and strengthen my covenant for my promise, and I'll give you a sign. So the Eibishter made a promise that he would never, ever destroy the world again, the entire world. It's called a nefesh achaya she'itchem ba'if, and with all the living creatures that are with you, with the fowls, the birds, bahema, or the cattle, the chol chaya, or any animal, oretz itchem, which is from the land, which is you. L'kol yetza teva, and anything that's coming out of the ark, l'kol chayes oretz, to all the living creatures of the earth. So Rashi says amongst the beasts of the earth, these are the ones that walk with people. L'kol yetza teva, anything that's coming out of the ark, which is also the havishkotzim and the moshim, all the creeping animals. In the Torah, it's called shkotzim, banimal, banimal. L'chol chayis haaretz, the living creatures of the earth, to include the demons. She'ein b'chal chayish ha'itchem, it's not included in every living creature that's with you. She'ein luchem abriya, because they don't walk with human beings. So here we know that Noach took along demons with him. I'm going to establish this covenant with you. And never again will all the flesh cut off by the flood of waters. And there'll never be a flood again in the entire world. L'shachis started to destroy the world. So the Eibush says, I'll make this confirmation for my covenant, and that what's the confirmation? The rainbow. That's going to be the rainbow. As Scripture proceeds to conclude that the God's going to make a rainbow, and that will be the sign that He won't destroy the world again. So God said, "This is the covenant. This is the covenant I make between you and me." And between all the living souls that are with you, the Deiros Elam, for everlasting generations. So that's the word Deiros is missing a letter of Vod, because the word generation did not require the sign, because they were completely righteous. There were times in history, the Gemara says, as such a generation of Chesky, the king of Yehuda, and the generation of Shimba Yochai. So in the time of the Gemara says, in the time of Shimba Yochai and Chizki Melech Yehuda, there was no rainbow, because there was no need to have the sign. So it's Kashti, the sign is my rainbow. The Sati Ba'anan, that's why when you see a rainbow, we say a bracha. And this is, I think, a Bi'alach, it's a complete rainbow. Not a half a rainbow, but a complete rainbow. So my rainbow has placed in the clouds, and it shall be a sign, a covenant to myself and myself in the earth. And it shall come to pass when I cause the clouds to come upon the earth, that the rainbow will appear in the clouds. When it comes to my mind to bring darkness, the clouds are clouds of darkness upon the world, I will make sure that a rainbow is seen. And then v'zachayti is brisi, I'll remember my covenant, asher beini beinechem, which is between me and you, ubein kol nefesh achayim, between all the living creatures, b'chol basar, and every flesh, v'lo yoid mabel mayim mabel l'shachis kol basar, and there will not be again a total destruction of flood upon the entire world. And the keshes, this rainbow will be in the clouds, but and I'll see it. There's a chayti. This case, bis to remember my covenant, like this olam, everlasting covenant. Bein elikim and bein konef shachai, between God and between all living creatures. And all to all the flesh that's on the earth. So Rashi says, interesting expression over here, because God's talking like in the third person. So midas hadin shalamayda beinecha. Elikim is midas hadin, but I will change from midas hadin, from the attribute of justice, again to the attribute of mercy. So so this is the expression. I will come in between midas hadin, between the attribute of justice. This is what the Medrash says, that when midas hadin, the attribute of justice, will come to judge against you, I will mix in, so to say. So I remember, I'll have rachmanos on the world. I'll remember the covenant and have mercy upon the world. Verse 17. So God said to Noach, this is my covenant, which I have established between you and all flesh, asher ala aretz, is upon the land. So Rashi says, when it says zois, it means that he showed him. What did Noach know about a rainbow? So he showed him the bow and said to him, here is the sign. This is the sign. Here is the rainbow. And this what the Eibishter showed Noach, that would be a sign forever. That's why, as I said before, we make a bracha, we make a blessing when we see a rainbow. The blessing is that we thank God for remembering the covenant. So that's why it says, it's been brought down, that it's not good to look at a rainbow too much. You know, a rainbow is a beautiful thing, because in essence, the rainbow is where God needs to have a covenant, needs to remember his covenant. And that completes the chumash of the day.
Wow, that was short.
The Tanya of the day is on we're still holding chapter 25 of the Alter Rebbe. And the Alter Rebbe is explaining the concept of the way that ultimately the light of God, where God created the world, and ultimately the Eibishter comes down in every aspect of the world. And not only does the Eibishter come down in Kedusha, but through the concept of the creation of the world, God has the capability, and so it does come down in impurity. And that's why impurity has life. If God wouldn't come down in impurity, there wouldn't be life force to impurity. So everything has a life force, whether it's good or bad. So the Eibishter, which is Torah, which is holy, and its life force comes down into an aspect that's the opposite of holiness. So in Kabbalah, the Alter Rebbe brings down this expression in Kabbalah. Now God created this opposite, that since entire dynamic, the holy side of the universe, has its counterpart in the other side. That's the concept of klippa, of the covering, tzimtzum, which is the greatest covering, contraction, which is the greatest covering, and the aspect of klippa, of something that hides something. The aspect of sitra achra, the other side, so to say. The sitra achra, the above mentioned spheres of holiness, and likewise the 10 corresponding thoughts of the godly soul, each have an unholy counterpart. So there's, so to say, the concept of a yin and a yang. There's the good and there's the opposite, because that creates the concept of where we have the free choice in the aspect of good and the opposite of good. We're not even talking about the concept of evil, the concept of what is holy and what is unholy. Unholiness doesn't mean evil. Unholiness means selfishness. Unholiness means unproductive or ungodly. So there's that ungodliness has life because the Abishter gives it life. God gives unholiness life because he created opposites. So since he created the concept of holiness, that's what we say in our davening. Yotzer oir uvoyre choshech. God created light and he created darkness. And that's Kedusha. In Kabbalah, that's the concept of holiness, is light. And he created unholiness, and that's darkness. And that's the counterpart, the opposites. Zeh umazeh. One is opposite the other. So you have Moshe Rabbeinu, the greatest Navi, and you have Bilam, a great prophet that was the opposite, that uses prophecy for evil. Yesh asara kisim savusa. So in Kabbalah, it's written there are 10 crowns of impurity. And from these issue the souls of nations. And that's why there's 70 nations in the Torah. In the Torah, you have 70 nations, number 70. Well, it's an interesting number. In general, there's more than nations. United Nations is more than 70 nations. But in the Torah, there's 70 nations. And the Torah says all the other nations that you have in the will come out of these 70 nations. A lot of these nations are really one nation. But there are 7 nations because there are 7, those are the 7 emotions. So you have 70 nations, and then you have the 70 Jewish people who came down to Egypt with Jacob. That's the 70s corresponding to the 70. And that's the struggle. The 70 nations, the 70 souls of Jacob, we are called the sons of Jacob, coming down to the 70 nations. They're coming down to Egypt. And they are also comprised of level of 10. So that's what is 70. Even though I said it's 7 emotions, 7 times 10 is 70. But now it's better. It's the exposition of Sefer Gula. You can learn the Sefer Gula if you know the book of Gula, which is a Kabbalistic book. That the man rules over man to his detriment. It's common knowledge. Yeah? Oops, sorry. So So the concept of I'm sorry, the man rules over man is in general. That's where you have slavery. Jews are in slavery. The world is in slavery. Domination by man. Who's dominating? People are dominating each other. The Abishah created a world. God created a world that everybody can live in this world. No, there's got to be domination. There's got to be forced. You're under certain rules. And that's the concept of the exile of the Shekhinah. In this klippa, this cover. In order to animate them and to empower them. God gives these rules powers. The managos in time of exile. So in a time of exile, where everything is hidden, where things are not so clear, you have the concept of man ruling man instead of God ruling man. That's how we pray. We're hoping time will come that God's dominion will be on the world. Not man will rule man. God will rule man. And but what's the problem with man ruling man? It's always evil. However, this temporary dominion is evil to his ultimate detriment. For its underlying intent is that the sparks of holiness that are found within the evil to extract and elevate it. Now that's why the nations rule, dominate the Jewish people. Because we're in Galus. We're in exile. And when we're in exile, we're under the dominion of man. For the souls of the nations derived from the Klippa, in which the Shechina is vested in a state of exile, empowered them to rule. And why did God do that? Because we need to extract that. We need to be able to develop that concept and get out of this gullus. But that's the way it is right now, and that's the purpose. That sort of Rachav said, Alter Rebbe says, even though it's a letter, Alter Rebbe says, even though this concept it requires extensive learning, I'm writing a letter, I'm giving you in a couple lines something that takes time, and it's a very deep concept. Nevertheless, this is the facts. I'm just telling you the facts of life. And the facts of life is that we're under the dominion of the nations. And the Eibishter wants it at this present time. The concept of the dominion of the nations. Because the yin and the yang. And we need to be able to overcome it. But we need to be able to realize that we have it within us to overcome this gullus. Because actually the gullus is there to be elevated. And despite this, the Klippa and the nations receive their nature and life force only from reflection. So they're only receiving that acharayim. They're called Klippa. It's called Klippa. It's called a covering. It's called the concept of the backside. Because it's not there for itself. In general, you should know the difference between kedusha, something that's holy, and something that's unholy, is that kedusha is there for itself. When something is not there for itself, it's there for something else. That's called klippa, because it's there, but it's not there for itself. So too, this is not there for itself. It's there for something else. And that's why God, so to say, gives it from the dimension of the hindsight dimension of holiness. It's so to say the backside. Second thought. What means a second thought? Not that it's not important. It means it's there for something else. The whole world is here for the concept of godliness. So everything is here for something else besides godliness. In a manner where one who's unwillingly throws something over his shoulder to his enemy, as explained in Tanya in chapter 22. And even what the world receives, its life, it's through numerous and intense contractions and screenings until this radiance becomes vested in material of this world. So now you understand why the world has such a struggle with God. It's not a hard thing to comprehend why this world has a struggle with godliness, has a struggle with the truth, because it's so far. It's so far from godliness. It's so far from the truth that it's almost impossible for the world. You can't say that because that's our avodah. Our avodah is to bring the truth to the world. Dispensing wealth and honor and all physical pleasures unto the nations. So while the nations of the world are having a good time and they're enjoying the world, we see that the Jewish nation continues to be in gullus. The Jewish nation continues to struggle. whether they're here, whether they're in Israel, because the Jewish nation receives its life force from the Pnei Hashem. And that the Pnei Hashem, the countenance of God, is in Gullus, that's a big Gullus. That's not Stama in exile. That's an exile within an exile. So the face of God is an exile within an exile. The Jewish nation receives its sustenance from the supernal countenance, panim, pnimius, from the innermost aspect of divine. As written, may God make a countenance shine upon you. According to the source of his soul upon the most elevated levels. So if every Jew receives his countenance and sees his life force from the face of God, now a Jew is in Gullus. He's in Gullus, B'teich Gullus. He's in an exile within an exile within an exile. And that's why it's extremely painful exile. Because he's so deep. He's taking the essence of God, which he carries, and he carries it to the ultimate levels of exile, that if you would understand it, we would all have great mercy upon our souls, and we would all have great mercy upon God, who is forced, so to say, forced to count for his God, but who is taking this covenant with the Jewish nation, is taking a covenant with the world, taking a covenant with the Jewish nation to always be there with them, and he's so to say in exile with them. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the first day of the month of Cheshvan, Mar Cheshvan. The Tillim of the day is from chapter 1 to chapter 9. If you do the Tillim of the day, you did the Chitas of the day. Cannot be better to start your day than doing the Chitas of the day.
Rabbi, I have a question.
1 second, Mitchem. Today at 10 a.m., we're going to do a class in the portion of the week for the teachings of the Rebbe at 10 a.m. at Chabad, or right over here on Torah Direct, on Facebook, TorahDirect.com. Just in general, you can always look up all the classes on TorahDirect.com, not even on Facebook, on TorahDirect.com. That's a separate website that you can look up all the classes that were given at Chabad. They're all archived there, and you always can look up a class. If you missed a class, you always can look up one of those classes at TorahDirect.com. I wish you all a wonderful day, and now I'll take your questions.